What is up? I'm Zach Pfeiffer, and this is your recap of Survivor 46, episode number several. Episode several. Jelinski lives on, y'all. Let's just let him be the myth and the legend and not a potential returnee. Yeah, okay. First thing I should note about this episode, y'all. Nui. I think that's how you say it. They didn't say it once in the episode, but the new merch tribe for this season is Nui. Better than Murica. I was honestly hoping that they would name the tribe several in reference to Jelinski. But no, it was just Nui. And yeah, so the episode starts and we get back to the beach. And it's so interesting that Nami, this is the first time they ever went to tribal council. So coming back, they are kind of in shock. And the most shocking thing about it is Venus knows that one of these people, one of these 12 or 11 other players voted for her. And she's on the hunt to figure it out. And her first thought is Soda, because they've been fighting the entire time. And Soda's like, no, girl, it's not me. And now I know you don't trust me because you think it was me. And I was like, Soda, like, it makes sense for her to think it is you. Do not get defensive. You're literally fighting with her all the time. And then, you know, publicly she's like, I know it was Soda. And then Charlie out of nowhere is like, it was me. I voted for you. And I'm like, okay. Interesting choice by Charlie. Q chastises him about like playing with his emotions, which I agree with. I just don't like let Charlie sink his own ship. Like Q doesn't need to involve himself. If anything, that's gonna sink Q's ship. And Charlie, like, let the people fight. You don't need to let them know that you did that, because now, well, everyone is Venus against the world at this point, but we don't need an extra target on you, buddy. So not much happens before the challenge. We get to this like really lovely classic balancing challenge that they do in the water, very different from season 42 where there was like basically a typhoon going on. Like they just stood there. Don't know how long the challenge lasted, but it was like probably between the half an hour and hour range. But they're split randomly into two groups, a purple group and an orange group. Both groups are going to tribal council. Both groups will have an individual immunity winner, and both groups will send people home. One of those brutal twists in the new era is that they get to this point and one person will not make the jury post-merge and one person will be the first member of the jury, which I think is savage, but fun. I think it's some dangerous fun, and I think that's exactly what Jeff should be leading into in the new era. So like this, good twist. Hourglass of the past, bad twist. So the groups end up being purple with Soda, Liz, Maria, Charlie, Venus, and Tevin. And over on the orange group, we have Tiffany, Kenzie, Hunter, Ben, Q, and Tim. Starts off pretty fine. Q falls in, later admits to like throwing the challenge, which I am, when people say that like after the fact, I'm always like, did you throw that? Or did you just fall in? It's a really fun challenge. They're like having some banter. They play the alphabet game and it pisses Q off. And then there's like all this like colloquial like black talk that Jeff is learning about. Like, what's up, Jeff? And Jeff's like, what is up? And then Q's like, that's how black people ask for what time it is. And Jeff is like, oh, and he like takes a note and he's like, great. And then Tim again's like, what's up, Jeff? He's like, 23 minutes have elapsed. I learned something. It's like, I love this job because I can learn something. Super cute. And the challenge goes on, and Orange is close between, I think the last two were Tiffany and Kenzie, I believe. Yeah, Tiffany and Kenzie. And Kenzie just beats Tiffany, winning immunity for herself, her first individual immunity win of the season. But that does mean that Purple is going to win the reward, and whoever gets voted off their tribe will make the jury. So everyone but Kenzie is now sweating their butts off because one of them are not going to make the beloved jury. And that's like, honestly, if I were to get on Survivor, if I weren't going to win, being on the jury is like the next best thing, you know? So Purple, they're fighting it out. It's between Tevin and Maria, and Tevin has a lot of close calls, but Maria seals the deal, gets her first immunity win, and earns Purple reward. And all of them are going to be on the jury. So that's great. They're immediately separated. They do not go back to the same beach, which is pretty traditional. And whenever they do these twists, I like wonder if like the survivors out there are like, oh, I'm actually surprised, or if they're just like putting on a show for the audience at home. But you know, we saw this coming, or they should have seen this coming. What I loved so much about this particular like breakdown is we got a lot of their scramble on the beaches, particularly from Purple, which I really thought was interesting. Based on the numbers, Charlie should be the one going home. There are four Nami, two Siga, and Maria has immunity, so Charlie is the only one vulnerable. But the cracks at Nami are so deep, as Charlie puts it. They're like the space between continents and the like an ocean between two continents, that Charlie's name isn't even really thrown out there. It's like the safe cover vote, but you know, Venus is obviously a big target, and here's where things get interesting. Tevin wants Soda gone. He views Soda as a huge threat in the game, and Tevin's like, I want to be in control and I want to orchestrate the first big blindside post-merge. So Tevin has his eyes set on Soda. Soda has her eyes set on Venus, and Venus says, anyone but me, let's do Soda, let's do Tevin, they're both big threats. Liz is just kind of like in the background, not really doing much. So Tevin gets the ball rolling on booting Soda instead of Venus. So he begins this. But then you have Venus, who's like sussing everyone out. It's being pretty direct, as Maria calls her out, which I think was interesting. But I also think Venus's take on Maria was accurate in the sense of she has been in control for a lot of this game. She just wants individual immunity. And I'm sure she doesn't want this like young 20-somethings telling her what to do. Although Venus, all of her takes have been right. Like, let's take out the big threats. Let's take out the people that can beat us. And like, let's play the game. And it just comes down to this like social breakdown. And I don't know if it's because she's like a super attractive girl. I don't know if it's because she's super direct and like aggressive in that way. Because we've seen men do the same thing and people being like, yes. So like Q, for instance, has been doing this, even though it's starting to grate on people. Venus didn't even get a chance to like have people like that. So it's an interesting breakdown over there. And so, like, we're trying to decide what's going on, and then we realize that Maria and Charlie actually hold all the power at this tribal. So after we get that scramble, it seems like everyone is on the boat of voting out Soda. So I think Soda's going home based on that. And then we go over to the orange group, and then we start running around, and what we're getting a story of over there is the Yanu 3 are not as tight as we want them to be. Q is driving the boat, but the boat is bumping into coral and rocks and icebergs left and right, and Tiff and Kenzie are just like, we can't work with this. And I am sensing that Q's life in this game is going to be cut short, potentially sooner than later, particularly with the two Yanu members. Because if the two Yanu, Kenzie and Tiff, want to make it further into this game, they need to minimize the threat level of the Yanu 3. They just watched Jam, Carolyn, and Carson make their way to the Final Four in season 44. That's the last season they saw before coming out to play. That was also a purple tribe that lost pretty handedly and then slipped on through as Ratu and that other tribe kind of went to town on each other. I keep thinking it's Siga over in that season too, but it was some other green tribe. So if everyone's smart and is paying attention, then they should clock that Yanu is going to take power in this game very soon if Nami and Siga continue to bump heads as they are. But Q is rocking the boat. And I feel like if Tiffany and Kenzie are smart, they will sacrifice Q sooner than later so they minimize their threat even further and the two of them can slip into the finale, final 6, final 5. But, you know, Hunter is worried that he's the vote, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because they're going between Ben and Tim. And the real thing is like, do we do Ben? Do we do Tim? Tiffany wants Ben. Q initially wants Tim and then wants Ben and then is going back and forth. So we don't know where they're going into the tribal. And I'm curious if Hunter's going to play his idol. He said it in a confessional early in the episode. And he said like, I just want to get to the next round. But it seems like he realizes that he is with the Yanu 3 to make a 4. And that's either going to be Ben or Tim, and he's going to take the risk to vote and not play his idol because he thinks he has the numbers. We get to that first tribal council. It is that orange group. They go. There's talking back and forth. Not much is really brought up. It's just really emotional. Ben had that panic attack in the middle of the night, and Tiffany was the person that Kenzie was the one that helped him out. And they included this in the episode, which was really touching. But I do think, let's pay attention to this, y'all. I do think that this human moment is going to earn one of them a vote. So at the final tribal council. So if Kenzie makes it to the end, maybe Ben is the deciding vote factor, or vice versa. Like maybe Ben makes it to the end and gets a vote from Kenzie because Kenzie's like, I love this guy. Those are things that we should be paying attention to because building your resume is important, but these human moments are also so incredibly important for your social game. They vote. It is Ben and Tim voting together against Hunter, and then the rest of the four, the Yanu 3 and Hunter, voting against Tim, sending Tim home. And damn, you are so close to the jury. It would destroy me to be that close and then to get booted. Like, I would be a wreck. So, great game, Tim. You did better than I thought you did, honestly. I've been saying you were going to go home since, like, episode 2. So, great job. You are the sexiest dad to have ever played the game. And, yeah. I'm sorry you didn't make the jury, bud. Bye. And then we have the purple group, and this tribal council is a little bit more interesting. We have a lot more like people showing face. We have Liz over here that's like, I didn't even bring my bag, y'all. Like, I know my Nami people are strong, so I'm like, what is happening here? I'm worried, and I honestly thought that the numbers in that last moment were going to flip on Venus, because we had 2 votes Venus, and I was like, what's going on? But then we had 4 for Soda, and Soda went home. And Soda's reaction was great. She was emotional, she was shocked, she did not see it coming, and she gave all the credit to Venus. She goes, is it you? And Venus was like, it was me. And Tevin over here is like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't, it was me. And here is my big conundrum with this episode, and Tevin's gameplay. I think Tevin has been playing a pretty spectacular game so far in this game. He's incredibly social. He isn't the biggest threats. He's like coasting through. Like, he's doing a really good job, but I think why he voted for Venus instead of Soda here is really interesting to me. Could it be him currying favor to a jury member? Perhaps, probably. But I think that if he blindsided Soda, voted with so it was a 1-5, then he could have been like, I got you, girl. I got you. Game respects game, and like that was me. And he could have taken full credit for this. And now, next episode, we're gonna get back to the beach, and Venus is gonna be like, I got Soda out, which might increase her threat level and keep Tevin safe. But based on the description of the next week's episode, it seems like they're gonna fight about who's gonna take credit for this move. And if Tevin's gonna be like, I did that, I made things happen. Yeah, he had the social pull that got everyone together to vote for it. But it's like all hearsay now. Like, he's going to have to be like, I got everyone together, but then I did vote Venus because I wanted to curry favor with Soda because she's my girl. And then Venus is going to be like, but I also talked to everyone and I got everyone to vote for Soda and you didn't vote for Soda. So like, it looks like you're lying. It will be very, very interesting to see what happens here going into the next episode, because now we've gone from 12 to 10 just like that, and I believe this is the last time we like do a swappy moment, so I think everything is gonna be straightforward from this point on, and I'm excited to see how it goes, because at this point we have 3 of our Yanus left, with Q, Kenzie, and Tiffany, and then for Siga we have we have Ben, we have Charlie, we have Maria, just those 3, because Tim's gone. Yeah. Maria, Charlie, and Ben. And then we still have 4, so that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 4 Nami. So Nami is still kind of the lead with the numbers right now. We've got Liz, we have Venus, we have Tevin, and we have Hunter. So as the numbers are getting closer, we have 4 Nami, we have 3 Yanu, and we have 3 Siga left. For next week's episode, y'all, I think Q's time is up. I think Q will be going. He's rocking the boat. He rocked Charlie's boat a little bit. He's rocking Tiffany and Kenzie, so I don't think they're going to be sticking their necks out as much as they have been, maybe for each other. And it would make sense for almost everyone to get a Yanu out at this point. Let's keep their numbers small. It will keep Tiffany and Kenzie's threat levels to a minimum. It will make Nami feel like they're on top with 4, even though they were completely fractured. And then we have the 3 Siga that are left with Maria, Charlie, and Ben. So I'm curious about to see how this will all shape up. I do think Q will go next week. But honestly, it's Survivor and anything could happen. Jeff could throw another twist at us. Who knows? But that was episode several, y'all. And I will see you all next week. Happy Survivor, and you all keep on surviving. Mwah.